Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. In this short video, we are giving a preliminary description of sexual harassment as described in a research paper, and it is called Sexual Harassment of Women, Climate, Culture, and Consequence. So in this couple of beginning videos, it is our introduction to our empowerment program for women. We want you to really get a good understanding of the different types of sexual harassment, what kind of environments create it, and how we can stop it from a research perspective before we get into all of the workshops and all of the descriptions. So bear with me. This will be maybe 2 or 3 parts because it is a lot of information, but it is valuable information that I think you'll enjoy. So take a listen. Make sure to join here on YouTube at our website, sfjfamilyservices.org. Subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification. See you soon. Enjoy. Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. This is Stacy with SF Johnson Family and Community Services, and also the owner and operator of SF Johnson Consulting and Construction Services. And in this video, and we'll try to make it short, we are going to introduce definitions on sexual harassment. This is part of our program to help end sexual harassment and violence at the workplace for women. And so I always like to start off with when I teach anything is just to give the basics of what things are and what things are not. And then we're going to also go over the 6 types of biases faced by all individuals. And then we'll pinpoint, more importantly, how women are affected and go even deeper to show how women of color are affected. And so let's talk about sexual harassment. And this is some research that we received from the study is Sexual Harassment of Women, Climate, Culture, and Consequence in Academic Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. And so I thought pretty much it refers to any situation where there are women that are not in primary roles, not in leadership, maybe in male-dominated industries, or even gay women, queer women, bisexual women. You know, I hate to say that I'm old, so sometimes I don't say the letters correctly, but sometimes this even happens to women that aren't traditional, when the environment is run by quote straight women and there are gay women. So sometimes for those reasons they experience harassment of some kind. So what we're going to do here is just go over the research first and then review the 6 different types of harassment or biases that we all have and share, and the things that we need to be mindful of and maybe eliminate in our lives, and definitely within the workplace. So let's talk about the sexual harassment research. All right, so this information was gathered over decades for women that have experienced sexual harassment, and they gather that information. And one thing we have to understand, and this is part of an intro for our 18-month program that we will begin in September of 2023, that we are just given preliminary information to kind of say this is our issue, this is what we're going to be talking about. But it should be noted, most specifically, it should be definitely noted that women who experience harassment or abuse or rape or all of those types of disgusting issues don't necessarily go out and tell everybody. And so when we have programs like this, it's important that we remain, or all of the women understand, that all the information remains confidential between yourself and the mentor that you speak with, the counselors that you speak with. And so that's the first thing we always emphasize, and that's made clear, because it's not that all of a sudden women are being more abused. It's women are telling more about the abuse. And so more than half of our country contain our women, our economy, our lifestyles, our security is not what it should be when women don't go to work and be able to do the things that men are able to do, because they can feel confident and they, have atmospheres that help them reach their full potential. They're not gauged on the color of their skin, or like a woman has to come with so much proof, and I had to do it myself as a claims adjuster. You have to come with so much proof of your past experience, your past merits, where men, we know you'll do well once you get here, son. And so we need to stop that, and that's what this program is all about, just stopping that type of mindset at the workplace. So let's talk about the research. So let's talk about, this establishes information for us so we can get some research literature and some law for discussing the issues. So when you do have groups, in which we hope to do, and we hope to help others form groups in industries like construction, where it's primarily ran by men, that you'll have some ammo in terms of this research to use to say, well, here is our problem based on years and years of research, and here is what we're going to try to do to stop it. And so what we do and what the research does is give you everything that you need, methods for studying the information, and the appropriate methods for presenting the information. We provide information on the prevalence of how much of it is out there of sexual harassment, and the common characteristics of how sexual harassment is perpetuated and experienced across all lines of industry, occupation, and most definitely social class. Our study extends to women of color, and how you get, not only are you a woman, you're a black woman, you're a strong woman, you might be a gay woman, and so or Latina, strong black, a woman of color, really doesn't matter. This applies to all of us. And what we'll conclude, what the research concludes, and what we'll give you and what we give in the study, is the common characteristics of the environments where sexual harassment is more likely to occur. And so let's first of all give a definition of what is sexual harassment. So it is any unwelcome sexual advance, request for sexual favors, or other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature. All of that constitutes sexual harassment when the conduct is explicitly or implicitly affects the individual's employment. So it doesn't have to, like most of us, we've been able to hold it in, but even if you feel a little uncomfortable, that in those ways, it's sexual harassment. If it unreasonably interferes with an individual's work performance or creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment, that is sexual harassment at the workplace. Okay, so sexual harassment was first recognized in cases in which women lost their jobs because they rejected sexual overtures from bosses, employers. This type of sexual harassment became defined as a quid pro quo type of sexual harassment. So that means this for that, meaning that a job or education opportunity is conditioned on some kind of sexual performance. Such coercive behavior was judged to constitute a violation of Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Soon it was recognized in employment law that persuasive sexist behavior from coworkers can create odious conditions of employment, what became known as a hostile work environment. And so that's where that came from. And we use it for a lot of reasons, but this is the originator of that term. And also, this also constitutes illegal discrimination. And they give us some court case law. Okay, so these two basic forms of sexual harassment, the quid pro quo and the hostile work environment, or the hostile environment harassment, were summarized in guidelines issued by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission in 1980. Okay, so they only started protecting you from that old madman type of activity in 1980. But it's there. Okay, so it goes on to say hostile work or educational environments can be treated by behaviors such as addressing women in crude or objectifying terms. Okay, so these are the ways that hostile work or educational environments can be created. These are the behaviors that they state. So, such as addressing women in crude or objectifying terms, posting pornographic images in the office, and by making demeaning or derogatory statements about women, such as telling anti-female jokes. So that's one way. Hostile environment harassment also encompasses unwanted sexual overtures, such as exposing one's genitals, I would think so, stroking and kissing someone, and pressuring a person for dates, even if no quid pro quo is involved. Okay, so an important distinction between a quid pro quo and hostile environment harassment is that the former, the first, always or usually involves a one-on-one relationship in which the perpetrator has control of the environment or educational related rewards or punishments over the target. In contrast, the latter can involve only perpetrators and many targets. In the hostile environment form of sexual harassment, coworkers often exhibit a pattern of hostile sexist behavior towards multiple targets over an extended period of time. So, for hostile sex related or gender related behavior to be considered illegal sexual harassment, it must be pervasive or severe enough to be judged as having had a negative impact upon the work or educational environment. Therefore, isolated or single instances of such behavior typically qualify only when they are judged to be significantly severe. Okay, so they're basically saying, they got to do it a lot. It can't just be one time unless it's really bad. Like if his pee-pee comes out, that probably qualifies. So legal scholars and judges continue to use the two subtype definitions of quid pro quo and hostile environment to define sexual harassment. Okay, so goes on to give us some more information about illegal sexual harassment. So I don't want to just go on forever, so take that in right now as we have this little music, because this is for you when you go to work tonight, tomorrow. It's like any of the unwanted things. So yeah, quid pro quo, if you allow yourself into that situation, the Weinstein thing was all about that, right? So if you allow yourself, I need my job, so I gotta have sex with somebody, if that's your mindset, you need a psychologist and a new job. But the hostile work environment, it's everywhere. So that's probably the thing that you'll most experience. So let's take a minute break to think about that, and we'll be right back. All right, so now we're going to go on to illegal sexual harassment falls under the umbrella of a more comprehensive category: discriminatory behavior. Illegal discrimination can occur on the basis of any legally protected category. So those are race, ethnicity, religious creed, age, sex, gender identity, marital status, national origin, ancestry, sexual orientation, genetic information, physical or mental disabilities, veteran status, prior conviction of a crime, okay, gender identity. Think of it, just basically mind your own business and keep your thoughts to yourself, because this is covering everybody. Gender identity or expression, or membership in other protected classes set forth in state or federal law regarding sexual harassment. The focus of this report, or this information that I'm giving you, that you should use at work, definitely if you're in management, if you are a male, give this to your supervisor, because it's almost guaranteed there's instances of sexual harassment, coercion in the workplace if there are women there. So, especially if you don't have a program that you already know about and a policy that you already know about, you definitely probably already have this problem. And we want to stop it, because we need women to work in every industry and make them feel welcomed and invited. And if they feel like targets every time they will show up at work just because of whatever, everybody suffers, including that industry that you're in that's discriminating and being harassing. So regarding sexual harassment, the focus of this report, this includes gender harassment, which is important today. Gender harassment, a term designed to emphasize that harmful or illegal sexual harassment does not have to be about sexual activity. Sexual harassment constitutes discrimination because it is harmful and it is based on gender. Sexual harassment constitutes discrimination because it is harmful and it is based on gender. It is not necessarily motivated by sexual desire, nor does it need to involve sexual activity. Okay, so basically that's telling us when we're at work, we don't have to want to have sex with this person and show it in whatever inappropriate ways. We can have inappropriate activity regarding someone's gender, which we know we do today. Okay, which is so out of control. So Both legal and doctrine, both legal doctrine and social science research recognize gender as encompassing both one's biological sex and gender-based stereotypes and expectations. Okay, so when they think about your gender, if you're a gender, you're a woman, well, they think you should cook if you're married, or if that's what we're talking about, the genders and the gender and the stereotype that associates with that gender, or the gender norm, the norm for that gender, which is a stereotype basically too, because everybody should do everything, right? So you can also mess up in that way. Where are we? Both legal doctrine and social science research recognize gender as encompassing both one's biological sex and gender-based stereotypes and expectations, such as heterosexuality and proper performance of gender roles. Sexual harassment in the form of gender harassment can be based on the violation of cultural gender stereotypes. For example, a man may experience gender harassment for being, quote, a sissy, or being easily embarrassed by pornography, violating stereotypes that men should be strong, heterosexual, and sexually bold, while a woman may be gender harassed for taking a job traditionally held by a man, or, yes, we do, or in a traditionally male field. Oh, just today. That's why I had to make all my videos private, because I'm not sharing my 14 years of knowledge with somebody that's going to disrespect me because they see that I'm a black female. You get nothing else for free. You got to know your worth, women, and no, I'm sorry. I'll shut that whole thing down. I don't care. While women may be gender harassed for taking a job traditionally held, gender harassment in I went all off on that one. Gender harassment in such a situation might consist of actions to sabotage the woman's tools, machinery, or equipment, or telling the woman she is not smart enough, right? Oh, so why do we need a woman? You could be making a baby. Something stupid. Like, yeah, well, thank God you can't make a baby. It's not smart enough for scientific work. Subsequent actions of this report, or this information I'm going to give you, discuss gender harassment in greater detail. Now, psychologists who study gender-related behavior have developed more nuanced terms to describe sexual harassment in order to more precisely measure and account for the behaviors that constitute sexual harassment, and to describe how targets, and it's 90% women that are victims of sexual harassment, but that's not always the case. Okay, so we women may not always be the targets, experience those behaviors. A 3-part classification system divides sexual harassment into distinct but related categories, and this is what we're going to review right now, and we're going to end it here. So the 3 categories are in this section here, and then we'll move on to the remainder, because we want to keep it short so you can remember and enjoy and be informed. Take this home, think about it, and sign up at sfjfamilyservices.org if you want to be a warrior at your job and start a little program, whether it's at your job or at church or wherever there are women, just to pass this most valuable information. You can use this at home, okay? Forget work. All right, so the 3 ways. 3 categories of sexual harassment. 1, sexual coercion, unwanted sexual attention, and gender harassment. And so we have a nice little pictorial Here, I don't think we have it on the website yet, but we do have the 6 different types of bias experienced by all people, but more specifically and to a more crazy degree by women. That's up there now. And our next couple of videos will be going over and talking about each one of those. And then we'll also have a section where we'll give you certain scenarios that you may face at work and just how to combat that ignorance when you are actually in the situation, and to be able to do it in a professional manner and in a way really where you can train the people that are that ignorant. So here we go. Sexual coercion. Sexual coercion entails sexual advances and makes the conditions of employment or education for students contingent upon sexual cooperation. Okay, so if you experience that, that's what you're experiencing. Next, unwanted sexual attention also entails sexual advances, but it does not add professional rewards. Wow. But it does not add professional rewards or threats to force compliance. In this category are expressions of romantic or sexual interest that are unwelcomed, unreciprocated, not given back, and offensive to the target. Examples include unwanted touching, hugging, stroking, and persistent requests for dates or sexual favors despite discouragement, and can also include assault. So the last of our 3, and where we're going to pick it up at the next video. And make sure to like, subscribe, join, so when I upload these, I try to do one a day because I think it's very interesting and it's so needed right now. And so I love it. So last one, gender harassment. And again, I think I mentioned before, my goal one of these good days is to all these psychology books I invested in, get a degree with some of them in social psychology, because we got to learn how to get along, man, or understand why we don't and let it go. But if you don't know, you can do better. All right, last one, gender harassment is by far the most common type of sexual harassment. It refers to a broad range of verbal and nonverbal behaviors, not aimed at sexual cooperation, but that convey insulting, hostile, and degrading attitudes about members of one gender. Okay, so I'll read that again. Gender harassment, and we'll have it all uploaded at the website. The program starts in September, so we're slowly putting everything together slowly, but all of this information will be up on the website. Every woman can join for free, and if your company wants to join, then they have to pay $99 per lady or person. You don't have to be a lady. Anybody can join, and they really should. But the common knowledge stuff, we ask that everybody does this part, and then we have workshops for women only, and especially for women who have experienced sexual harassment, whether it's at the job or previous to the job, because we all do. And when that happens to you, it depends on the level, even what it is, and who you are as an individual, and how your mind and can accept stuff like that. You can carry that on forever. So we help women as long as they feel they want it. All right. So gender harassment is further defined as 2 types of sexist hostility and crude harassment. Examples of the sexist hostility form of gender harassment for women include demeaning jokes or comments about women, comments that women do not belong in a leadership position, or this is so up my alley, this is just today, leadership position, or not smart enough to succeed in a specific career, and sabotaging women. The crude harassment form of gender harassment is defined as the use of sexually crude terms that denigrate people based on their gender. We hear it all the time against someone else, using insults such as slut to refer to a female coworker, or the P word, won't say it, to refer to a male coworker. So the 3 forms of the harassment. This is just the beginning. This is a prelogue to the class. So make sure to like, subscribe, join, and we'll see you next time.